The night before my wedding, I did something no one could have imagined. I took all 188 invitations and quietly replaced the bride's name. My girlfriend of 10 years, the woman I once swore I'd never live without, was erased. In her place, I wrote her aunt's name. To everyone else, it looked like a sick joke. They thought I'd lost my mind, but I knew the truth. In my last life, I had married her. And not once in all our years together, did she ever say she loved me. I told myself she was shy, not good with words. I made excuses for her silence, even defended her to others. But the day I stumbled on her hidden diary, my world cracked open. Page after page bled with longing, not for me, but for the man she never stopped loving. That's when it hit me. She didn't struggle to express love. She just didn't love me. And this time, reborn with the chance to change everything, I decided to let us both go. So when I stood at the altar in my suit, hand in hand with her aunt, the crowd showering us with blessings, she was the one who unraveled. The very next day, I crossed paths with Jasmine Croft, my fiancée of 10 wasted years. She was at a birthday party, surrounded by her friends, when I walked by. Their eyes lit up with mockery. Sincere, still trailing Jasmine like a puppy? She said yes to you already. What more do you want? Even Jasmine herself couldn't hide her irritation. Sincere, I agreed to marry you. That doesn't mean you own me. Stop following me around. Go home and get the wedding ready. Don't embarrass me. Her voice was sharp, her face cold, and my chest tightened. But instead of crumbling, I finally pushed back. Which one of you saw me following her? I asked calmly. The wedding does need planning, but that has nothing to do with you. And I don't need her telling me how to live. Her friends stared, stunned. One laughed outright. Oh, so the lapdog finally learned to bite? You're the one who begged us for her whereabouts just to stage that little proposal. And now you're pretending you're over it? Please. Their laughter cut through me, but I didn't flinch. They weren't wrong. I had humiliated myself before, groveling, begging, scraping for her attention. But that man was gone. Jasmine's lips curled. Don't play these pitiful games just to catch my eye. Remember, I can cancel this wedding anytime I want. Don't test me. And that was the problem. My devotion had made her believe she owned me. But now she was about to learn I was serious. Before I could walk away, a voice cut in from the side. Smooth, mocking, perfectly timed. Jasmine, looks like I came at the wrong moment. Poor Sincere must be jealous, watching you celebrate my birthday. Maybe you should go with him, ease his nerves. I'd hate to intrude on your engagement. It was him, Caleb Thorne, the man Jasmine loved then and still loved now, the man she could never let go of. But in my past life, Caleb wasn't even here yet. He was overseas. So why was he standing in front of me now? The moment Jasmine saw him, her eyes lit up like stars. She threw me a warning glance. Don't you dare ruin this, and then turned soft as silk. Caleb, don't mind him. You're the star tonight. Sincere's just an outsider. I'll get rid of him. Then she looked back at me, with pure contempt. Sincere, Caleb just returned from abroad. I'm here to celebrate his birthday. This has nothing to do with you. Stop hanging around like some pathetic creep, or the wedding's off. Her words burned, and the crowd's smirks only deepened the sting. But I wasn't the same man anymore. I shrugged, turned my back, and walked away. She froze, surprised I didn't fight, then smirked bitterly. So, you're finally learning self-control. All for the sake of marrying me? Pathetic, but progress. That night, I went home and continued adjusting the wedding plans. Swapping out a bride wasn't exactly a minor detail. Hours passed before my front door creaked open. Jasmine. She almost never came looking for me. But now, she stepped inside, her tone playful, almost teasing. Surprised to see me? You should be happy I'm here. She smiled faintly, pretending to care about the wedding. Since you behaved yourself at Caleb's party, I thought I'd check on your progress. She wandered closer, her fingers brushing over the invitations I had altered. the ones with her aunt's name written in bold. She was about to open one when a sharp knock. Jasmine? Jasmine, are you in there? Caleb's voice. She dropped the invitation instantly and rushed to the door. And there he was, face heavy with stage distress. Jasmine, thank God. I couldn't find you anywhere. The power's out at my place. It's pitch dark. Can you stay with me tonight? I can't stand being alone. Then he stopped mid-sentence, feigning surprise when his eyes landed on me. Oh, Sincere. You're here too. Please don't be upset. I didn't mean to intrude. Jasmine, maybe you should just stay here with him. I'll go. I shouldn't have asked. His voice dripped with false humility, and Jasmine stood torn between us. But I knew, deep down, who she truly wanted to follow. Caleb's performance was flawless. Soft words, a trembling act, the perfect victim. And Jasmine? She fell right into his arms. Don't say that, Caleb. I'll stay with you tonight, she cooed, her voice gentle in a way it had never been with me. Then, as if remembering her role, she turned to me with a frown. Sincere, keep working on the wedding. Caleb needs me. He's afraid of the dark. Her excuse was almost laughable. Afraid of the dark. But I only nodded, my voice flat. Do as you please. You don't owe me an explanation. She blinked, caught off guard. For years, she had braced herself for jealousy, for me begging her not to go. But this calm indifference unsettled her. For a moment, her expression softened. All right, Sincere, she said carefully. I've already agreed to marry you, so I know my boundaries. Besides, Caleb can even be our best man. That was too much. I cut her off. Marry Caleb if you want. I don't care. Her glare was sharp, but she didn't lash out. Instead, something smug flickered in her eyes, like she thought she understood me. Sincere, stop testing me. If you really want me to care, then be obedient. Don't be jealous. Don't misunderstand. Caleb and I are just friends. She gave a cold huff, then turned to him. Let's go. Caleb hesitated, putting on his timid act again, as though he hated to leave me behind. Thanks, Sincere. When you and Jasmine get married, I'll have a surprise for you at the wedding. His eyes met mine, brimming with mockery. I didn't bother to respond. Once they were gone, I went back to the ceremony plans. But just as I picked up my phone, a new message flashed across the screen. This time, it's my turn to be the billionaire's husband. Hand her over while you still can. Before I could process it, another text came through. A photo of Jasmine and Caleb, side by side in a kitchen, laughing as if they'd been married for years. And that's when it hit me. Caleb was reborn, too. No wonder he had returned from abroad earlier this time. No wonder Jasmine was already wrapped around his finger. He wasn't here for love. He was here for what was coming. Because in my last life, Jasmine wasn't wealthy when we married. That came later. Contracts, investments, wealth pouring in from every corner of the state. Overnight, she became one of the richest women in the city. And me? I was the husband of a billionaire. But I knew the truth. Her meteoric rise wasn't her doing. Someone powerful was guiding her from the shadows. Even now, I still didn't know who. My thoughts were interrupted by a call. I answered, and a calm, elegant voice drifted through the line. I'll be back tomorrow for the engagement party. Have you made your decision? It was Victoria Sterling, Jasmine's aunt. My new fiancée. I had only met her once. 3 years older, graceful, intelligent. And yet, she carried more power than anyone in the Sterling family. Yes, I replied after a pause. What about you? Rumor said she had never married, that she had carried a torch for someone long ago and rejected every suitor since. And now, for reasons I couldn't fathom, she had agreed to me. Her soft laugh came through the receiver. Of course. I'll see you tomorrow. The call ended quickly, but it left me restless. The next morning, I went to collect the wedding rings I had originally designed for Jasmine. The jeweler had adjusted them, reshaping them for my new bride. As I admired the band meant for me, a hand snatched it away. Nice ring, a voice sneered. Why don't you just give it to me, Sincere? It was Caleb, smirking, rolling the ring between his fingers like it already belonged to him. You don't get it, do you? Jasmine is mine now. So this wedding ring? It should be mine, too. Thanks for the gift. Tonight, at the engagement party, I'll make sure to toast you for it. Then, with a smug flourish, he slid the ring onto his own finger. 2 lifetimes, and I had never met someone as shameless as Caleb Thorne. My body moved before my mind could stop it. The slap cracked across his face, echoing through the room. His cheek flushed red instantly, fury blazing in his eyes. Before he could react, Jasmine came storming in, her designer bag slamming into my back. Sincere, what are you doing? I staggered from the hit, turning to face her. Her expression was dark, twisted with rage, as she pulled Caleb protectively behind her. Caleb, are you all right? She whispered. He played his role perfectly. I'm fine. I just wanted to see the ring. It was so beautiful. I didn't think Sincere would actually hit me. Please don't blame him. He must have misunderstood. It's my fault. Jasmine's fury only grew. She glared at me as if she could burn me alive. Sincere, I've been far too lenient with you. How dare you hit someone over a pair of cheap rings? Get on your knees. Apologize to Caleb. Hand him the rings and beg for his forgiveness. Otherwise, this wedding is over. And in the face of her absurdity, I couldn't help but laugh. Marry whoever you want, I said flatly. And those rings? They're tainted now. I wouldn't take them back even if you begged me to. Jasmine froze, staring at me in disbelief. Then a cold laugh slipped from her lips. Still playing hard to get, Sincere? You're hopeless. I didn't bother to argue. I simply walked out, leaving her words hanging in the air, and ordered a brand new set of rings. By evening, the Sterling family's villa was alive with light, buzzing with voices and music for the engagement party. I put on a tailored suit, every detail sharp, and made sure I looked my best. But as I turned a corner outside, I caught sight of them. Jasmine and Caleb, tucked away in a secluded spot, fingers intertwined, whispering like lovers. The sound of my footsteps startled them. Jasmine dropped his hand instantly, her face snapping back into its usual mask. Sincere, she called out, pretending as though nothing had happened. I ignored her, my stride quickening, though the sight of them still left a bitter taste in my mouth. Inside, the hall glowed with chandeliers. Familiar elders greeted me warmly, and I exchanged pleasantries, my mind already elsewhere. Victoria should have landed by now. She would be here soon. Then Jasmine entered. Her eyes locked on me, waiting, expecting me to come to her side like always. But I didn't move. I stayed where I was, scrolling absently on my phone. Annoyance flickered across her face. Finally, she bit her lip, walked over, and gave me a once-over. You clean up nicely, she muttered with a small huff. Your mouth says you don't want me, but the way you look at me says otherwise. Standing next to me, we looked decent enough together. I said nothing. My focus was on Victoria. I was still trying to picture how to greet her when she arrived. The world knew Victoria Sterling as the queen of business, the sharpest mind in the family, even more powerful than her brother-in-law, Mr. Croft. But in my memories, she was something else. Gentle, kind, almost like an older sister I could trust. Sincere. Jasmine's sharp voice cut through my thoughts. Her face was tight with irritation. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. You saw it earlier, didn't you? She whispered harshly. Fine, I'll admit it. I can't let go of Caleb. But you? You can't live without me. So here's the deal. I'll give you the title of husband, but my heart, my body, and my assets, they all belong to Caleb. If you're smart, you'll sign this. She pulled a document from her bag and shoved it toward me. I stared at her, at the paper in her hands, and wondered how blind I had been in my last life to love someone like this. I didn't even touch it. I just walked past her, toward the entrance. Soon Victoria would be here. That would be answer enough. Jasmine's patience snapped. She grabbed my arm, her grip iron-tight. Sincere, are you even listening? My aunt will be here any minute. The party's about to start. Just sign it already. I turned, ready to finally unleash the words I'd held back, when suddenly movement at the doorway caught my eye. There she was, Victoria Sterling, in a flowing red gown, each step graceful, every gaze in the hall drawn to her. She moved like a queen returning to her throne, elders surrounding her, the air itself shifting with her presence. Jasmine's hand on my sleeve felt meaningless. I shook her off and walked straight toward Victoria. She smiled when she saw me, her nod elegant, calm. I returned it with a smile of my own. And in that single exchange, everything became clear. Jasmine quickly tucked the document away, her chance gone. When it came time to be seated, she chose her spot and tilted her chin, gesturing for me to sit beside her. I didn't so much as glance her way. I walked past and took the chair beside Victoria instead. Jasmine's face tightened in fury. She leaned over, whispering in disbelief. "Are you insane? That's a seat for an elder." I ignored her. On Victoria's other side sat Mr. Croft, Jasmine's father. Normally a stern man, he softened his tone in her presence. "This is family dinner. Let's just eat, relax. No need to be too formal, haha." Victoria picked up her chopsticks first, setting the rhythm of the table. Only then did everyone else begin to eat. Jasmine's eyes darted to me, signaling, demanding. She wanted me to serve her food. So I peeled a shrimp. She instinctively held out her bowl. But instead of filling it, I set the shrimp gently in Victoria's dish. Victoria's smile was warm, her voice soft. "Thank you." She returned the gesture, placing food onto my plate. Across the table, Jasmine's expression twisted, her eyes screaming, "That's my aunt." Mr. Croft cleared his throat, ready to give a speech, when the doors flew open. The first thing we saw was a massive bouquet of roses. Then Caleb appeared, sharp suit, polished smile, his voice booming with false charm. "Sorry I'm late. Good evening, uncles, aunts, everyone. I'm Caleb Thorne, a close friend of Jasmine's. Jasmine, these flowers are for you. I hope they make you smile." For a heartbeat, Jasmine froze. Then joy lit her face, and she jumped to her feet, accepting the bouquet like it was the most precious thing in the world. "Dad, Mom, Aunt Victoria," she beamed, "this is Caleb." Mr. Croft's face darkened instantly. "Jasmine, this is family dinner. Why bring an outsider here?" If Victoria hadn't been present, his anger might have erupted on the spot. Jasmine trembled under his glare, but still clutched Caleb's arm. "He's not an outsider. Caleb is very important to me." Then, in desperation, she turned to me. "Sincere. Tell them. Caleb should stay, right? He can join our engagement party." All eyes fell on me. Jasmine's gaze was sharp, begging and demanding at once. But before I could say a word, Victoria's calm voice cut through the tension. "It's fine," she said smoothly. "Let him sit down." The meal carried on, but the tension never truly left the room. Victoria, calm as ever, placed another dish on my plate, her elegance a quiet contrast to Jasmine's restless energy. Jasmine, smug and triumphant with Caleb at her side, tried to pull my attention, but I barely saw her. My focus stayed on Victoria, pouring her water, sliding a napkin her way, the kind of gestures that spoke louder than words. Then Mr. Croft cleared his throat, shifting the air. "Sincere," he said warmly, "I hear most of the wedding plans are in motion." I set my chopsticks down, ready to answer, when Jasmine cut in with her usual bravado. She rattled off about invitations and venues, desperate to claim center stage. Her father's eyes narrowed, but she pressed on, dragging Caleb into her fantasy of a wedding that was never hers. And then the blow came. Mr. Croft, exasperated, slammed reality on the table. "Jasmine, I'm not talking about your wedding. I'm talking about your aunt's." The room froze. Jasmine's smile crumbled, her confusion spilling into panic. Her gaze darted from her father to Victoria, then finally to me, sitting beside her aunt, dressed in a suit that matched Victoria's gown. In that instant, the truth crashed down. Her voice broke as she whispered, "Engaged? To whom?" Mr. Croft didn't flinch. "To Sincere, of course." Who else? The color drained from Jasmine's face, as though the floor had given way beneath her. The whispers around the table turned sharp, scandalous, an aunt and a niece caught in a tangled storm over the same man. And when she erupted, hurling accusations and rage at me, her father's patience snapped. The crack of his hand against her cheek silenced the room. Tears blurred her eyes, humiliation burning hotter than the sting. Even her mother's voice carried disappointment, reminding her of everything Victoria had ever done for her, of the kindness she was now throwing away. Caleb tried to step in, to salvage her dignity, but Jasmine's scream cut him down. She fled, broken, her pride in shreds, Caleb chasing after her like a shadow. And just like that, the family dinner became a battlefield, leaving me and Victoria at the center of it all. The elders' stares weighed heavy, scandal painted across their faces. Mr. Croft could only bow his head, swallowing his shame with 3 glasses of wine. Victoria, composed as ever, brushed it off with grace, while I steered the conversation back to safer waters. Yet, even as words floated around us, I felt her eyes on me, soft, steady, admiring in a way that made me forget the chaos just moments ago. For the first time, I felt something new stirring in me. After all, in both lives I'd lived, Jasmine had been the only woman I ever chased. I'd never imagined another until now. Later, I stepped out to clear my head, only to find Jasmine waiting in the shadows of the hallway. Her mascara streaked, her voice raw with anger and desperation. "Sincere," she choked out. "What the hell is going on? How did our engagement party turn into yours and my aunt's? You don't even know her. What game are you playing?" I looked at her, calm, steady, almost pitying. "Jasmine," I said, "I've told you before, we're over. I'm not going to marry you. Your aunt and I were engaged, properly, with our family's blessing. That's the truth. Accept it." Her eyes widened, disbelieving. She shook her head like the words couldn't possibly be real. Rage and heartbreak twisted her face as she spat through clenched teeth. "Impossible. You chased me for over a decade. You begged me on your knees before I finally agreed. You said you'd only ever love me." But the truth was already standing in front of her, in the red gown, in the soft smile, in the way I no longer looked back. Jasmine's voice cracked as she clung to me, her words tumbling out like shards of glass. "You swore you'd love me forever. You begged me for years, said you'd never marry anyone else. How could you just stop?" Her hands reached for mine again and again, but I pulled away every time, my patience wearing thin. And then, sharp as thunder, another voice cut through the air. Cold. Commanding. Final. "Jasmine." Victoria's presence was like a shadow falling across the hall. Even Jasmine, bold enough to defy her father, shrank under the weight of her aunt's gaze. For a moment she faltered, but desperation forced the words out. "Aunt Victoria, are you serious? With him?" Victoria's eyes swept over her niece, a chill that made the blood run cold. Then, without hesitation, she slipped her arm through mine. "He is your uncle by marriage now," she said evenly. "And in the future, I expect you to have some self-respect. Don't let me catch you laying hands on my husband again." The words landed like a blade. Jasmine's face went pale, her lip trembling as if the ground itself had betrayed her. "No, this isn't real. Sincere loves me. He's only doing this to spite me. Aunt Victoria, don't let him fool you. Sincere, tell her you still love me." But before I could speak, her father stormed into view, fury blazing. "Jasmine, enough. Do you have no shame? Sincere is your uncle now. If you humiliate this family again, you can forget about your shares, and forget about stepping foot in this house." The blow hit harder than his hand ever could. Jasmine's cries split the air. "Dad." Her body shook, caught between rage and despair. That's when Caleb appeared, swooping in to steady her trembling frame. He whispered soft reassurances, empty promises that only deepened her desperation. She clung to him like a lifeline, Her sobs muffled against his chest as he led her away. Her father sighed, shoulders heavy with years of disappointment. He muttered something about her upbringing before leaving us, finally giving Victoria and me a moment alone. I turned to her, studying myself. Tomorrow morning, I'll pick you up for the license. Is that okay? My words carried more nerves than I wanted to admit. But Victoria's hand found mine, her smile soft, grounding. Okay, I'll walk you out. We talked as we strolled to the car, and with each step, the walls between us seemed to fall away. She wasn't cold, wasn't untouchable like the world painted her. She listened, truly listened, and when she spoke, her thoughts carried weight, maturity, clarity. Next to her, Jasmine felt like a child I'd once mistaken for a queen. My old love had been nothing more than a self-inflicted illusion. That night, I couldn't shake Victoria from my mind, her elegance, her poise, her quiet strength. For the first time, I wondered if I was even worthy of her. Then my phone buzzed. My heart leapt, hoping it was her. But no, Caleb. His message oozed arrogance. Didn't think you had it in you. Snagging Victoria Sterling. Guess you've finally learned your place. Handing Jasmine over to me. Don't worry, I'll take care of her. A photo followed. Jasmine in his arms, tears staining her face. I blocked him without a second thought and texted Victoria instead. A real conversation. Something worth my time. The next morning, I dressed sharply, gathered my documents, and drove to the Sterling estate. But before I could even reach the gate, Jasmine was there, eyes red, trembling, blocking my path. Sincere, don't marry her. Don't you love me most of all? I even brought my ID. Just say the word, and I'll go in with you. We'll get the license together. Please say something. Her tears fell, but I had no sympathy left. I pushed past her, my voice colder than steel. Haven't you caused enough damage? We're over. Victoria's expression hardened, her silence more terrifying than anger. Finally, she spoke, calm and deadly clear. Jasmine, you know my limits. Fear flickered in Jasmine's eyes, but pride wouldn't let her stop. Aunt Victoria, you have everything, money, respect, power. Take my shares if you want, but not Sincere. He's my husband. You can't steal him. Don't you know? In another life, we were married. We were happy. He loved me for a lifetime. Why did it have to change? Her words struck like lightning, freezing me in place. Another life? Suddenly, the truth unraveled before me. Jasmine wasn't just clinging to old memories, she knew. She remembered. She was reborn just like me. No wonder she ran back to Caleb so easily. No wonder she'd played her cards so perfectly. She had been scheming with the knowledge of 2 lifetimes. But I wasn't blind anymore. I looked at her with nothing but ice. Get lost. I shook her off, took Victoria's hand, and together we walked inside. Minutes later, our marriage certificate was in hand. By the time we came out, Jasmine had vanished. To celebrate, I took Victoria to a restaurant for lunch. The place was lively, voices rising around us. But in an instant, chaos struck. A man leapt from the next table, a knife flashing in his hand, his eyes locked on Victoria. Without thinking, I moved, my body between her and the blade. But before steel could meet flesh, a scream ripped through the air. Jasmine. She threw herself forward, her arm catching the strike meant for me. Blood splattered across the table. Her voice was weak, trembling as it slipped out. Sincere, can you forgive me? She collapsed in my arms, crimson soaking her sleeve. Victoria acted fast, steady hands pressing against the wound, her voice calm even as the world spun in chaos. Jasmine clung to me, sobbing, You still love me, right? Tell me you do. I didn't answer. Instead, I set cash on the table for her medical bills, and with Victoria at my side, I walked away. As we left, Caleb burst through the door, scooping Jasmine into his arms, whispering vows she desperately wanted to hear. Jasmine, marry me. Sincere's gone. I'm the only one who truly loves you. Marry me. And just like that, the story shifted again. Caleb's desperate plea hung in the air. Be my wife, please. But Jasmine shoved him back, her voice breaking as she screamed my name again and again. Sincere. That single word, sharp with anguish, seemed to drive Caleb mad. His face twisted with rage. Forgetting her wound, he grabbed her by the shoulders, shaking her with wild frustration. Jasmine, what is wrong with you? Don't you love me? In our last life, you loved me for an entire lifetime. I'm here now. Why are you pushing me away? Why won't you marry me? But for the first time, Jasmine's voice didn't tremble. It cut cold and steady through the chaos. Caleb, in my last life, my husband was sincere. That will never change. And with those words, everything between them broke. A week later, the world looked completely different. I stood at the altar, my chest pounding as Victoria, radiant in her wedding gown, walked toward me like a vision straight from the heavens. My thoughts scattered. I couldn't breathe, couldn't even move. It wasn't until the officiant gently prompted me to kiss the bride, and Victoria, cheeks flushed, nudged me forward, that I finally remembered where I was. But just as my lips were about to meet hers, a voice shattered the moment. Wait. Every head turned. Jasmine, dressed in white herself, appeared at the entrance, tears spilling down her face. Her tragic beauty stunned the crowd, her gaze locked only on me. Sincere, she sobbed, I've come to marry you. In our last life, you swore to love me for eternity. We spent years together. This time, you cannot let go of my hand. The hall erupted. Mr. Croft nearly exploded with rage, shouting for security to drag her out. But Jasmine fought against them, crying louder. Sincere, I love you. I love you. The guests whispered. Victoria's smile faltered. My heart tightened. I leaned to her and whispered, just a moment. I stepped down from the altar, each step echoing through the silence, until I stood face to face with Jasmine. My voice was steady, cutting through the madness. Jasmine, stop. Stop harassing me. Stop destroying my happiness. Stop this desperate obsession. You disgust me. The words drained the color from her face. She tried to speak, but I silenced her with one final command. Get out. Dragged away screaming, Jasmine vanished from the hall. And in her absence, the world finally stilled. That night, the bridal chamber was filled with warmth and tenderness. For the first time, I looked at Victoria, not as an agreement, not as family pressure, but as my wife. Quietly, I asked her, why did you marry me? Her answer was soft but resolute. Because 20 years ago, a little boy saved my life. And I promised I would marry him. The memory struck me like lightning, an amusement park, a locked closet, a girl crying in the dark. I had freed her. I had teased her. You can repay me by becoming my wife. Childish words, but she had carried them in her heart across lifetimes. And now she was here. Mine. In the weeks that followed, Victoria and I grew inseparable, partners not just in marriage, but in business, in life. Friends joked we were no arranged couple. We moved like two souls who had loved for years. Meanwhile, Jasmine spiraled. Her father, fed up with her scandals, locked her away. And when she finally emerged, she married Caleb, rushed, loveless, only because she carried his child. But even then, their union was a storm. She cried that he wasn't thoughtful, not like me. He confessed he had trapped her, sabotaged the condom to bind her to him. Their marriage became the city's favorite joke, two broken people clawing at each other in public while the world watched. Her father stripped her of power, of shares, of dignity. And Caleb, angry, humiliated, came storming to me. What did you do? Why has Jasmine lost everything? Was it you or your wife? I shoved him to the ground, my words like ice. If you're sick, go see a doctor. Stop living in a fantasy. But then Jasmine appeared, pale as a ghost, her eyes wide with horror. Caleb, the only reason you chased me, the only reason you came back, was because you thought I'd be rich? Caleb spat blood on the floor, his voice venom. What else did you think? Do you really believe you're special? In this life, in the last, I never loved you. Without your family's money, I wouldn't have touched a delusional woman like you. Rage broke her. Jasmine lunged to strike him, but Caleb caught her wrist and hurled her aside. She stumbled, crashed to the ground, and blood began to pool beneath her. Her voice was broken, desperate. "Help me. Sincere, help me, it hurts." And for all her cruelty, all her betrayals, my instincts betrayed me too. I called the ambulance, watching as the woman who once ruled my heart bled out on the floor. In the end, she lost the child. And Jasmine, once untouchable, spent the next month in a hospital bed, broken and alone. When Mr. Croft discovered the truth, his fury was volcanic. He demanded Caleb divorce Jasmine on the spot. Caleb didn't even hesitate. He agreed, almost with relief, as if he'd been waiting for the chance to cut her loose. Jasmine didn't find out until she was discharged from the hospital. By then, Caleb had vanished, leaving behind nothing but ruin. He had forged her name, stacked mountains of debt on her shoulders, and then fled the country. By the time she thought to call the police, it was far too late. Her father's disappointment cut deeper than any knife. Mr. Croft, who had once fought for her again and again, turned his back completely. From that day forward, he refused to involve himself in her life. Left alone, Jasmine unraveled. Laughter spilled from her lips when no one was speaking. She sat for hours, muttering my name under her breath, like a broken prayer. "Sincere, my husband. I was wrong. In our next life, I'll marry you. Okay? Husband." Once Victoria and I visited her. She didn't even recognize us. Her gaze passed right through me, as though I were a stranger. Eventually, her family had no choice but to send her away to a psychiatric hospital where she could be kept safe, if not whole. A year later, Caleb resurfaced, or what was left of him. His life on the run had been a descent into hell. Scamming his way through foreign streets, he had been captured, his kidneys stolen, his fingers severed. Somehow, he crawled back into the country, half a man. The moment he set foot on familiar soil, the law swallowed him whole. Life in prison. No escape. Meanwhile, my world was the opposite of theirs. Victoria and I built a home filled with laughter, with warmth. We welcomed a child into the world, and with each passing day, my love for her only deepened. Years later, the hospital called. Jasmine's condition had improved. She was ready to come home. Together with her parents, Victoria and I went to bring her back. She looked at me with eyes rimmed red, a hollow kind of clarity in them. And with a trembling voice, she spoke only 3 words: "I'm sorry." The very next day, she disappeared. No notes. No trace. Just gone. And for the first time, I didn't chase after her. I didn't wonder where she went or what became of her. Because the truth was, my story had already found its ending. For the rest of my life, I only wanted this: to hold my wife, to raise my child, and to live every day as if it were the happiest day we'd ever been given. The end.